Hi, this is Fran from the Pelvic Floor Solution, and this is my story. About 6 years ago, my husband and I embarked on the journey to have a family. We initially started with all the excitement that comes with that. Will this be the month? After a year or so of disappointments, you realise that maybe it isn't going to be so easy. So with referral to the hospital, I then started on the journey, prodded and poked constantly by doctors and nurses, trying to find out what's wrong with my body. In the end, we started fertility treatment. We had IUI 3 times and also spent probably a couple of years doing some of the supported conception with also trying naturally things like acupuncture to support an organic diet, which we were already eating anyway. After this couple of years of even more prodding and poking through the treatment, we eventually came to the big decision. We were going to give IVF a go. So then the hard work really started. I remember the very first weekend I started my injections. I was actually in London on a course, stopping in a pretty grim hotel just outside Euston Station. Had to take my drug bag with me, make the solution up and inject myself. You have to make sure that there's no air bubbles or anything in the syringe. So it's a bit scary really having to do that for yourself, especially in a bit of a grim hotel room when you're on your own. There was another time as well, my husband turned 40 during the time we were having the treatment, and we went out for a lovely meal with friends and family, but I had to again take my drug bag with me, go to the toilet, mix up the solution and do the injection. And you're in the toilet thinking, oh, if somebody comes in, what are they going to think? It was a pretty awful experience. Those couple of things really stick in my mind. Anyway, eventually you get to egg harvesting and then we got to embryo transfer. I think embryo transfer was probably the day where I really felt I'd lost all my dignity. I'd been sort of used to having people examine me, shall we say, but embryo transfer, you're in the operating theatre, the lab is next door where they do the work. So you've got the embryologists, you've got the nurses, you've got the doctor who's doing the transfer, and it's so clinical. You're on a bed, strapped, well not strapped in, but legs akimbo basically in the air, and then because they couldn't get the right angle to do the transfer, they pretty much tilted me up, so I was almost upside down with my legs in the air. Really not a fun experience, and it's quite painful too, and obviously all your hopes are riding on this at the same time. So it was amazing. We did have a positive pregnancy test. We were so excited, but cautiously, because my body had let me down on numerous occasions prior to this. Unfortunately, when we went for the first scan, there was no heartbeat detected, so they'd informed me that I would have a miscarriage. This was very traumatic, and yeah, it was horrible really, painful, and there was the grief that went along with it too. But even that didn't happen correctly. My body let me down again, and a few weeks later I woke up in the middle of the night with agonising pains. I had to go back to the hospital, and in the end had to have an emergency scrape, which I'd initially refused, thinking I'd just have the natural miscarriage. But over all of that, I would say it was still a positive experience, because I felt like I was really doing something to achieve my goal of having a family. But you do suffer this sense of your body's letting you down over and over and over again. You remember I said I was on a course in London at the beginning when I very first started the injections. That course was actually to do with learning how to retrain pelvic floor and core muscles, particularly after birth, but if they've been damaged for any reason really. And I was looking forward to, when I did the course, to working with ladies who would need help to restore their pelvic floor function, and I thought I could use it on myself as well. But after everything I'd been through, I really couldn't face working with ladies who'd had babies. So I left it for a few years, but now I've embarked on a new journey. We're in the adoption matching process at the moment, so we're really just hoping and waiting that we'll still get our family soon. And it's made me think back to the training that I went through. It's such a valuable piece of training, it seems a shame to not use it. So I've decided to set up the Pelvic Floor Solution to help ladies who bodies are letting them down. So if you're interested in learning how to reconnect to your pelvic floor, strengthen it if you've had pelvic organ prolapse, or just generally you know that your pelvic floor is letting you down, then put your details in the box below and I'll be in touch and we can have a chat about it. Thanks.